Hey there, thanks for watching. This is Christiana on The Well-Behaved Wallet, and I am coming at you today with a little bit of a different type of video. So this isn't a how-to, this doesn't really directly relate to my debt-free journey, but I'm just kind of thinking about this topic, and I thought I would just kind of put it out there and see what your thoughts are on this topic as well, and kind of explain to you my story and where I'm coming from and how this does relate to my life in general, which includes my debt-free journey. So this is a topic of not fitting in. So I'm going to take it way, way, way back to sort of in the beginning. When I was a kid, I sort of felt like I grew up not really not fitting in, but being, I don't want to say not different, but sort of my thoughts on the world around me and the way that I related to the world around me. So I would say that I was a pretty confident youngster from about the ages of, I would say, well, like, you know, when you first become aware of the people around you. I would say that as a kid, I was fairly confident. I just had this sense of discovery about the world. There was a home daycare in my house, and I feel like learning and exploring and museums and trips and field trips and things like that were very much a part of my growing up, and I loved that. I loved reading and I loved learning new things, planetariums, stars, universe, galaxies, going swimming, things like that. I also had, I started playing violin when I was 6, and this was something that I love to do. I couldn't wait to start playing. And I just felt drawn to it. And I would say that sort of music and learning and discovery were sort of the hallmarks of being young. And I felt sort of an excitement about the world in general. And the idea of learning and growth was what drove me as a kid, as it generally does when you're learning new things as a child. So I would say up until about 7th, 8th grade, I had that sort of confident, exuberant joy about the world around me. I had a really good friend who's still my best friend to this day in grade school, and I felt like she and I could be like partners in crime and like learning and trying new things, and we like had a newsletter, and she would we would write these stories together, and we would get out of school to like work on music stuff. And get out of class early, and we were the ones that would like do research into insane topics. And this was before like the internet and you could just Google it. Like you had to like subscribe to these weird like mailing lists, like actual physical anyway. So I felt like I had people I could relate, or I felt like I had a person that I could relate to in my sort of learning experience. So fast forward to high school, and I feel like things were changing. Things changed a little bit for sure. For me, high school, I went to a very competitive, very progressive, very sort of wealthy high school in a wealthy area, blue ribbon, top rated, and I wanted to go to that school, just a local public high school in my area. And there were a lot of changes in my family as well. My parents, my dad left the house, and finances became a lot tighter. And I feel like that was sort of, along with other things like being a teenager, things change. And I feel like what happened around then was my confidence started to shift, and I lost that sort of quest for knowledge and just that idea of sort of playing with the world and that playful joy of experience and learning and interacting with the world around you. And I became a lot more, I don't want to say fearful, because I don't ever think that fear was a part of my experience. I do think that a lack of confidence made me retreat into myself. And it's like the typical scenario at the lunchroom, right? Like, who do you sit with? And that was like the biggest sort of question. So there, you're divided up, and they're like the sports kids and the smart kids and the artsy kids and the theater kids and some of the choir kids. And these were all things that I was aware of, but I never felt like I fit into any of those boxes, even though like I was a part of choir, but all the choir kids also had other, areas that they belonged to, like they played lacrosse or field hockey or something like that. And I just felt like I didn't have the tools that would help me succeed in that environment. And as a result, the table that I ended up with, and I kind of like this idea, but I ended up at the interesting outcasts table. And these are people that also, like me, didn't really fit in, didn't really, for whatever reason, maybe they also felt like they didn't have fit into, you know, any of the above boxes. So we just kind of like hung out together and would kind of look out at all the different people in those groups. And we weren't, I didn't think that we were like catty or anything like that, but I was just keenly aware that I did not fit into any of those particular boxes. And I didn't feel especially confident in my ability to either relate to those people or be good at the things that they were good at. I thought that my lack of equipment, financially, physically, emotionally, mentally, prevented me from interacting with those people. And I would say that was probably my biggest challenge. It was all internal and it had nothing to do, I mean, it did a little bit have to do with what was going on financially, but I feel like if I had inside myself been more equipped with the confidence to face the world, my outlook would have been different. So fast forward past high school, which is something I am eager to do, I went to a small Christian college locally, and I lived in the dorms all 4 years, which was the best decision ever, because I feel like that forced me to become an adultish. You know, you still have your RA or resident advisor on your floor, kind of guiding you and kind of trying to keep you safe, whatever. And the school that I went to was very sheltered, so I think it was a great place for me to sort of come into my own and discover things that I had always loved and enjoyed and felt confident in my ability to complete, but just kind of returning to them. So I did a lot more writing, I started playing more, I was in chamber ensembles, and I did more of that. So it was funny, I was in, at one point, I was just recruited because I learned to play viola and all these people needed me for their ensembles, but I wasn't a music major and I didn't have any room in my schedule to take any of these ensembles for credit, so I would just take a bunch of them for no credit. People were like, oh, you can take it for no credit. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let me do that. I'll help you out. So I did that, and I really felt at that point that I did fit in to those particular activities. So I was writing, I was playing music, and I feel like faith was a huge component of that, feeling like I fit in those circles. So that made for a wonderful college experience. And I think what that also allowed me to do was to take that confidence in those areas and go out into the world at large and look for new opportunities. I did a summer where I studied Arabic for all of my language credits, for 12 credits. And I ended up working for an Academy Award winning director for 3 of the 4 years out of school, and then 1 year after graduating. And I feel like that was the point at which I felt like I fit in. I felt like I fit into those particular boxes or boxes within those communities. I'm trying to think of another word for community, because I feel like community is a little bit overused at the moment. But that's what they are. They were communities that I feel where it's just like you meet someone and you feel like you can almost immediately click with them. You can start talking with them immediately. So fast forwarding from college and the first couple of years out of school to today, where I kind of am looking to find, again, a place where my experience makes sense. So, and where I feel like I have something to contribute. And this year has been a year of exploration and new things and new experiences, and it's been wonderful and difficult and challenging and amazing and awesome and so many different things. But I really feel, again, like I am at the beginning trying to find my footing in a new territory. And how this relates to my debt-free journey, it does relate, because I feel like when you have the confidence that you can rely on yourself and define yourself by things that you know are you, things that make you who you are, you can therefore make decisions that might not be popular or you might not want to do in order to accomplish a greater goal. Not like I'm necessarily the best example of this, because I feel like right now I'm a little bit hamstrung by my housing situation in accomplishing my overarching goal, that I started this channel on, which was to be debt-free, which I am moving toward, just not at the speed that is really worth really interesting in any way. It's not really remarkable or captivating. I feel like I'm moving at the speed of paint dry. It's like watching paint dry. Like, you want to watch me make the minimum payments on my student loans? Like, go ahead. Happy to share that. I don't know if you'd want to see that, but that's kind of what I'm doing, because I'm also living life, and I'm also dealing with this housing situation that I've been in for the past 4 years, where housing is a good 50%, 50 to 60% of my income. And then on top of that, you want to have experiences, you want to live your life. So that's where I've been for the past few years. But I think I've been also making the excuse to myself that I just don't fit into any groups, so why even bother trying? I also think what started happening was I defined myself by not fitting in, and that led me to feel uncomfortable when I did feel like I fit in somewhere. So that's, again, just something that I'm kind of working through, dealing with myself here. And I feel like, and I'm wondering if anyone else can relate to that feeling, especially with trying to move and experience new things. For example, travel is a new thing for me this year. I've taken 4 trips, or I will take 4 trips by the end of this year. I just bought a ticket, and it's domestic. I'm just going to Nashville to visit my sister for Thanksgiving, and I'm super excited to do that. And this is something I love to do. Like, this is something that is new to me, and I'm like, I want to do this. And it's not super in line with a debt-free journey. Like, a Dave Ramsey purist would be like, what the heck are you doing? You don't belong here, get out. And I'm like, fair, you're right, I don't belong here, absolutely. Yes, 100%. Which is ironic, because Nashville's where, Brentwood, Tennessee is where Dave Ramsey's financial piece is headquartered, so oops. But that's okay, because I feel like I'm learning that there are other places that I fit, and that's all right, that you don't fit 100% somewhere else, and there are places where you do fit, and it's okay to fit in. So that's kind of, it's okay to fit in, and it's okay to not fit in everywhere, so you find somewhere else. And that's kind of, I guess, where I am, is finding that place where I do fit in. So I just like to say, if you're watching this, and if you've gotten this far, thanks for watching, and let me know where you feel like you fit. Like, where's a place that you feel like you fit? And again, for me, it comes down to music, my writing community, and faith. Although sometimes it's like you want to look for other places to explore and to fit in. I feel like this traveling community is a big one that I'm loving to explore. Wandering soul kind of thing. This minimalism as well. People that are committed to simplifying life, and living with the most important things in mind, which I think is an amazing thing to have in front of you as well. So again, bear with me, and I thank you for being patient, because I'm kind of still figuring out where I fit and where I can contribute, and where I can best sort of spend my time, where it makes the most sense for me to spend my time, and I guess where that's the most valuable, where I can contribute, where I can put something of meaning out into the world. So that's kind of my rambling, kind of musing out loud story time. Here's me, here's my story, here's my experience. If you can relate, give me a thumbs up and let me know where you feel like you fit in the most. So I thank you again for watching. As always, I hope you'll keep watching, and that we will be able to figure this out together. Bye.